We are
Didi
and Arma, and in our daily lives we support people on the path of self-liberation. We teach time-tested energy skills like Qigong, Tai Chi, internal alchemy, traditional nutrition and meditation.
We help people release stagnation, build energy, and become aligned with themselves and their purpose in life.
In this podcast, we share the methods, skills, and solutions that helped us, our students, and now hopefully you move forward.
Let's explore transformation together.
And we're talking about energy leaks and where's energy going?
Yeah, because normally we talk a lot about how to build energy, how to build vitality, but when your energy is going out of the window on the other side, it's not that much use to build energy. So actually it's really good to first and to keep looking at where your energy is actually leaking. So
yeah, I think that all has to do with unconscious behavior. So if we're looking at money, right? So where do you spend your money, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the month, you're like, where's all my money gone, right? So, and then you go back, you go in your phone or wherever, and you're looking, it's like, oh, I spent that, and I spent that, and I spent that. Oh, okay. You know, so how are you going to ever save money, right? So I think it's a little bit, it might be, but I think you get the point,
yeah,
right?
That's a great example. Yeah, because if you're very unconscious about money, it just goes everywhere.
Yeah. So first we have to sort of become mindful, really, mindful of, okay, where's this energy going and where does that start? Well, I think, it's all unconscious behavior, right? And that starts really mentally, I think. It's where our focus is. And, our unconscious thinking, feeling, and doing is causing this energy. So how do we become more mindful? That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So when we are unconsciously spending our energy, we are really touching things all the time. We're touching unconsciously, right? So mentally, we're touching our thoughts, we're touching situations, and we keep thinking about stuff. We're constantly thinking. So we're touching and thinking, and we sort of have learned somewhere along the way that that's going to help, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying it's never going to help. But if you look at certain unconscious patterns that keep repeating in people, it's very, very unconscious. And it's all about touching the same thing again and again and hoping that will get to some resolution and that of course causes all sorts of emotional behavior as well, right? So I think that a good example could be is like a lot of people have their head under the water. Right? They're like, right? Like that. And the whole process of this is gently bringing your head above the water. So there's still water, there's still thoughts, there's still emotions. And out of that, I didn't mention that, but there's all sorts of behavior, right? Doing or not doing, and then getting frustrated with not doing, or getting very, very tired of all this doing, all this, But if we gently raise our head above the water through exercises, right, we become more and more aware of the stream, right, in the water. So where's the stream going? And then, you can see, okay, this behavior is not serving me at all. Sometimes we have to come to a conclusion, right, that, this is just not helping. I mean, don't be hard on yourself here, right, because a lot of this is conditioned. Right, Didi? I mean, there's so much conditioned behavior, right? So I think it all starts with learning to observe yourself without touching, without any emotional, because you need to be neutral with yourself if you want to change something, because this all has to do about changing something, right? Changing this behavior. So we have to really, really become very conscious of thinking, feeling, and doing without touching. Just observe yourself, observe your thoughts, observe your emotions, observe your doing, and you're like, and of course that brings us to, also our diet, because, and not only diet, but all our whole lifestyle around it, right?
Actually, I loved the example about spending money. And I was thinking with when you go into a grocery shop, or a supermarket, that's even better, because there's so much marketing involved when you go into a supermarket. And when you're not conscious, how do you walk in there? And I love what you're always saying, that what hole are you trying to
fill?
Fill.
Right? Yeah. A hole in the soul. Right?
Hole in the soul. What are you trying to fill? So you go into the supermarket, you're very unconscious. And the first thing that you're seeing is like bringing up an emotion or a memory. And they place it there because it does that kind of thing to your brain. Because they want you to buy it.
Of course.
And so instead of going in with a list, that's already one step.
Yep.
To go into with a list where you have
written down
what you
very
want.
Consciously, right?
Yeah, because you want to make a recipe or something. If you don't have a list, you go in and somebody else is actually choosing for you what you're gonna buy.
Absolutely.
And you're gonna
be. Let's say you come into the supermarket, right? It's 5:30 in the afternoon. It's raining. It's November 30th, right? I mean, and you come in and you're hungry and tired.
Yeah.
So there's all this psychology, right? In these supermarkets, you come in and it's like the first thing you see is these meals that are complete, right? Just throw them in the microwave, 2 minutes, and you're done.
Yeah.
Why is that right in front of the supermarket, right? In the first thing you enter, right?
Because exactly. And so, and this is a spiral.
Yep.
You go in and you see the sweets and you see, and actually you're gonna buy it just because it's filling something. Yep. It's triggering an emotion. You're tired. You want to have comfort. You want to, you want to buy something nice for yourself. So it's a good example. And this is just just shopping, but this is how it works in life in so many ways. But it's a great way of. So if you're very conscious, you probably go to another supermarket.
Well, yeah,
you go to.
You go to a different one. I mean, I think every shop, even organic shop, has this, right? So let's not make a difference there. Although one food, the food in the organic will be of a better, energy.
And
quality. But it's more. It's like if you become aware of that.
Yeah.
I mean, becoming aware is, I think, the magic word here. You're going to be so aware of, okay, so better choices. Where do they come from? Yeah. You need to make a change. So I think sort of an awakening is very necessary here, right? So I think that's the magic word. I mean, some people slowly get their heads above the water, and some people have it quickly, right?
I think it all depends on where you are in life.
Yeah, the circumstance.
And a circumstance, sometimes life is kicking you in the butt.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you just need a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And if you look at the 5 elements, it's actually really interesting, because what happens when you're very unconscious? It's you're in this spiral. You see that if one element weakens, let's say your food, your diet is really unconscious, so you're eating really bad stuff. Then you lose focus, you lose concentration.
Yeah.
But also you weaken that element, and that weakens the next element. And the element in front of it as well. So then metal element, maybe because you don't eat very well, you don't take that much care of yourself, because the earth element, where is the digestion, is also about being a good mother to yourself. So then is the metal element. It's all about, it's the lungs, breathing. Are you breathing in? Are you...
of course, which is such a source of energy, of course, as well.
And taking space for yourself. So if that weakens, that element weakens, but then the next also weakens, your water element. And that's the right to be here. That's the
place here in the world.
That's where all the energy, the energy that you got from all your ancestors is stored there. So if you're using that too quickly, that's where you want to be very strong in that element. But if you weaken the others, and then there is the wood element, stress.
Oh, man.
And, and anger and frustration that's there. So actually you don't take time for creativity anymore.
Yep.
And you don't make space into your life anymore. So, and then you have the fire element, which stands for really being here on your path, living your purpose. Are you able to do that when all the others are off tune?
No. Of course not. Of course not. No.
So what you see is when the energy leaks away, when all the elements get weaker, that they cannot support each other, and that you cannot be in your full strength.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cycle, right?
Yeah,
you could say it's a spiral even.
Spiral, yeah.
Well, there's a downward spiral, right? So,
yeah. But the optimistic thing is, it's the circle of change. And what you said, first of all, you need to be conscious.
Yep.
You need some wake-up call, like, okay, I want to change.
Well, you have to find it inside yourself first, I guess, right? I mean, we're so distracted on the outside, right? And we're so touching the outside as well, because that's so important, right? We're touching things. It's like, oh, this, and now we're in this Corona thing, and blah, 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 this is happening, and blah, blah. And you know, these stress levels become so high, right? It's that you have to sort of realize that something in you can change. And the first thing you need to change really is that you stop touching that stuff. You know, that, and I mean, it's like you can still read about it, you can hear about it, but you are not going to touch it. You're going to separate something inside yourself, right? You become the observer, and you're going to start observing these things and also your own reactions to that.
And that's
right?
so important.
So you're pulling these apart. So that you get the observer and you get the observed.
Yeah.
And the observed can vary, can be anything. But let's start with your thought patterns. Observe your own thought patterns without touching them.
Yeah.
You're obviously going to do that every now and then when you're training that. But then when you realize that you're touching, you're immediately letting go. Some people ask me, it's like, how do you let go? I say, the moment you know that you're touching, you're going to let go. But the unconscious behavior is, right? The head under the water is that you're touching without you noticing that you're touching something. Yeah. And that's stuff on the inside, you know, your reactions to stuff, your own thought patterns, but it's also your your emotions, of course, but also the stuff around you, right? So you're constantly like, you're on it's like being on a battlefield the whole time without you even realizing it, right? Yeah. So it's you're dodging bullets all the time. Yeah. And that gives a lot of stress. So this might be a nice bridge to, if we're looking at Hermetics, right? We're looking at Hermetics and we're looking at the Initiation into Hermetics by Franz Barden. So this is a method of transformation, right? Yeah. It's like, same like Taoism or Buddhism. These are methods for transformation. But let's take a look at this Hermetic thing, okay? The first exercises there are in this book, in this method, are, well, there's mental exercises, of course, right? The first mental exercise is we're going to start to learn to observe the coming and going of thoughts without touching them. And then the same with our emotions that, they go hand in hand, of course, right? Yeah. A thought creates a feeling and etc. We're going to observe these feelings as well. We're not going to touch them. And the same for our actions or maybe the physical responses like, oh man, I'm holding my breath, right? I have this thought, but I'm also holding my breath. Just observe it. And by observing it, you're going to learn how to let go. And there's going to be a separation between the observer and the observed. Why is that the first exercise in this book? Well, there's no change going to happen without this skill. Yeah. It's a skill, right?
And I think before that is that something needs to pick up that book.
Well, for sure.
Something needs to... Something...
Or someone.
Someone is giving you the book. Yeah. But there is something that needs to click.
That's the awakening, I guess.
The awakening. Yeah. And we were talking about it yesterday while we were preparing. Something, because you were asking, like, what element is that? Where is the awakening happening? And I was like, that's in the literature where it's not that much talk, or not that I know. Maybe some people can fill me in, but it's not really written about that much. But
you were talking about focus. I think that's
I said focus.
Close, but
focus is in the earth element, but then I said the awakening probably belongs to the heart. Something your heart is knocking on the door of saying, hey, something needs to change.
You need to change.
You need to change. And then focus really comes into place.
Yeah, for sure. Isn't it all focus in the end, right? Because without this concentration level, it's not going to happen. But I totally agree that it's your spirit, your heart,
your spirit is from the heart. And so the fire is the fire.
Yeah.
If it's dimming your fire, then of course your spirit is gonna knock on the door. Like, are you still awake?
Yeah.
Do you still want to live?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I'm out of the door, and then you're not gonna live a nice life. So, yeah.
I just had this. I was at the Bruce Springsteen concert, right? Yeah. And he comes up on stages, and the first thing he screams is like, "Is there anybody alive out there?" Right? Why is he saying that? Yeah. Right? I mean, are we alive, or are we sort of in the fog and in the mist? Right? So if we're waking up, it for a lot of people must have been pretty bad.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, waking up is pretty rough for a lot of people. You know, the situations they get in, and for us as well. You know, I mean, but you know, the thing is, you're going to be very thankful that that you woke up and have the ability to learn these skills and work towards learning how to release and move on, right? Because that's what it's all about. Yeah.
And I think after waking up, what you said, being mindful, that's the first step. And then it's actually in the 5 elements. You see that wherever you make a change into the other direction, as it's a circle of change, you can influence every element by starting at the 1. And this is a funny story, because when I studied 5 element food, I was like, this needs to be the starting point for everyone, because it's so much of building your energy is in your food. So everybody has to start with food. And then I was a friend of ours who's an acupuncturist. He said, well, Didi, for a lot of people, changing their diet, changing their food is actually a big stretch.
Yeah.
And so they first need to do different things to actually get to the point where they think,
Yeah, and that's a good thing. You know, with the Hermetics, I was talking about, there's these mental exercises in the beginning, but there's other exercises as well. You know, we're also looking at the physical exercises, which are about stretching.
Yeah.
Because if we're stretching the body, we can clear physical tension. And that, of course, is going to help as well, So, and then we're going to look in between in the soul. Yeah. We're going to look at what are our behaviors, our personalities now. Yeah. Get them into a black and a white mirror. Like, okay, these are the things that are not really helping me, behaviors. And these are my strengths, right? Like weaknesses and strengths, so that we have a clear image of, okay, this is who I am. This is who I am. Unconsciously, you could say, because it's all conditioned, programmed, you could say, and learned while living. But you need to investigate. It's like, what of this is helping me or not? Yeah. But stretching, that's the more physical part, is for a lot of people the entry, I guess. If they go into yoga or maybe Tai Chi, doing stretches and stuff, it's gonna give an instant release.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure, because all 3 of them are in the book in the first step, right? These mental exercises and then the astral exercises, as they're called, all about the soul and then the physical exercises. They can't, in the end, they cannot go without each other, because they support each other, and they're all about our 3 energy bodies, right? Our mental body, our astral body, the soul, and our physical, vital body, you could say. So,
And I think when we look back at our own path, that's exactly what we did. Because we came out of a situation well, we didn't have a home for a little while. We get into that another time.
Yeah, that's a long story.
But then we moved, and the first thing that we did was pick up the book of Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah, The Power of Now.
Yeah. And you were training, and I did the yoga, but then I said, okay, this is a time for me to do my exercise daily.
Yeah.
I took 10 minutes a day in the beginning to just do some stretching.
Yeah, yoga, right?
Yoga.
Yeah.
And we started to do all the exercises, mental training.
Yeah, for sure. Meditation.
So for us, the food was not, it was always there, but it was not the first thing that was really the most obvious thing that followed. So although
it would be so nice, if you can start with all these things at once, but I don't really think it works that way. I think, you need to start somewhere. And when you start to become more sensitive, because that's what, the exercises also do. I mean, you're going to be sensitive for your lifestyle and diet eventually as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's, when you look at 5 elements again, if you start breathing, because when you stretch, there's more space for breathing. And so if you breathe more deeply and you can exhale, you start doing that. And you're actually going to strengthen your metal element. Yep. And then again, when you feel that you're more aware of yourself and that you have a right to be here, you have courage to take steps for yourself.
Yep.
Strengthening your water element and being more creative, being able to sit and to be mindful. That's actually strengthening your wood element.
Absolutely.
So all these things, it's all adding up, and then you have to look at your food. Being a good mother to yourself is, how do you nurture yourself?
Yeah, and that's not all about nurturing. Like, being a good mother doesn't per se mean that you're going to eat all this emotional stuff that's going to give you this cozy feeling of like, I need some more chocolate and stuff, or more sugar or whatever. No. It's all about taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
Really taking care of yourself, right? With love and attention.
What's good for you, and first, we also need sleep. That's if you're talking about something that's so important, if you don't have the concentration, rest, sleep is a big one.
But there comes the mental thing again, right? Yeah. If we learn step by step through meditation to be able to, not touch our thought patterns and learn how to distance ourselves from there. I mean, they can be there, these thought patterns, and they can, these emotional things. But it's just information passing through. If we are allowing ourselves to be able to distance ourselves from that and say, I'm not going to touch that. I don't need to touch that. I can observe it. It's all fine. How is your sleep going to be?
Oh, much better.
Much better, right?
Much better.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to mention, this is going a little bit like tick, tick, tick. Yeah, because we're talking about stretching on the other hand, right? So a wise man once told me, and this was Mark Rasmus when he was teaching me, he said, if you want to help people grow spiritually, let's use that word for a moment, right? Grow spiritually, you have to align them. Yeah. First, you have to help them align. And that starts physically. Yeah. As well. It's all about the spine and stretching the spine. Because, if we're looking at our center of our thinking and the center of our feeling and the center of our doing, they're all on this line. Yeah. Right? But if this line is out of line, right? So we're going to think something like this, and then we're going to feel something different, and we're going to do something else, right? We're not aligned with ourselves, and that's, I think, that's the massive energy leak. If we're talking about the energy leak, it's like we're all over the place, and we're sort of lost in all this conditioning and in life. We have to wake up and then step back, and then step by step start aligning ourselves again, learning these skills, not touch, don't touch. But don't fight with it either, but recognize it as not yours. A lot of our behaviors are not ours. They're inherited through our upbringing, through our culture, whatever, A lot of these thoughts that we have are all about, trying to become someone you are already, right? I mean, that's the whole thing. You are already perfect. We only have to recognize our stagnations on all these levels. And then if we're able to recognize them and don't touch them, then we can release them, right? Because if there's still drama, if we're still touching too much, our reactions, they're just going to continue.
Yeah. And then step out. Step
out.
As who you are.
As who you are. Yeah. And that's where the true strength is. And of course, we do stretch exercises. We teach people stretch exercises, vital breathing, bone marrow exercises. You can fill the dungeon. You can do so much stuff. But this is, it's like it has to come together somewhere, right?
And see where flow is. Where does it come easy for you?
Yeah.
Because then this is where I'm supposed to be.
You will, you will feel that. It's a feeling, right? That's just a feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. That was nice.
Yeah. It's a bit all over the place, but I hope there's some
nuggets that you get.
I hope so. Yeah. And that you can see it's all in the training, really.
Yeah.
It's all in there. But step by step we learn,
and for people who find this interesting, we're gonna do a course, online Chi Skills course,
January the 17th, 2022. We're gonna start, and all these mental training, energy training, stretch training. It's all gonna be in there, as well as 5 element food, and so if you're interested in this and
lifestyle.
And the course is going to be a 100-day course. So we're going to, in these 100 days, we're not going to teach every day, but, in the span of 100 days, we can come to a pretty amazing and profound transformation.
Really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, I will include the link to a video that's all about the course. And
and the link to the website, chiskills.com.
Absolutely. So
okay, thanks for listening and watching.
And like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.